What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be breaking down Game 5. The Winnipeg Jets walk away with a 5-3 statement game against the St. Louis Blues. Lots to unpack here. Some news about Mark Scheifele as he did not return after the first. We'll get into that in just a second. But a massive win for the Winnipeg Jets after getting destroyed both games over in St. Louis. Blues tied that series at 4. Jets take the lead at 5. And speaking of taking the lead, it's going to be the Winnipeg Jets scoring first in this game. They've struggled to get going right off the bat. In the first 4 games, I think St. Louis has started hotter than the Jets. But not in this one here, as the Jets get on the board first. Mason Appleton's actually going to take this puck. Him and Scheifele are going to pass it around back here in a board battle. Scheifele's going to get it out front to 81, and he's been doing what he's been doing all series, baby. Putting the Jets on the board 1-0 very early on. And it was very important that the Jets got out to a start like that, because with all the noise that they've been facing over the past week, that had to feel good. Just a couple minutes, however, after everyone's feeling good, feeling nice, the Jets run around in their own zone. Some stuff doesn't go the way they want it, and they fail to exit their zone. And the Blues are going to tie it here. I want you to see how many people are in front of the net, not clearing the front of the net. Right? Nathan Walker's going to go ahead and score. And it was really frustrating because, you know, they had them all boxed out, and then Walker planted his foot. Niederreiter went away from him. I understand probably not Niederreiter's assignment there to clear the front of the net. He's not the defenseman. However, he just kind of left him alone, and it was more of the same that we've seen from, you know, games 3 and 4. Blues are crowding the net, making life really hard for Hellebuyck, and, you know, one lousy, bad clearing attempt, Morrissey fall, ends up in the back of their net. And, you know, it wasn't pretty at that point in the game. Really stung because, you know, you just put the building, you know, up on their feet, and less than 2 minutes later, you know, go ahead and have a really bad shift like that. Can't happen in the playoffs, and it's a tie game. There was a lot of talk about Connor Hellebuyck and his play in the last 2 games of the playoffs here. Just not good enough. Said he's going to be better. He sure lived up to it here on this save. Coming back 2-on-1 shorthanded for St. Louis. Look at that. Sticking out the paddle. No way. So Connor Hellebuyck keeping this a tie game in the first. Later on in the first period, still tied at 1, and the Jets are going to get on the board right after Hellebuyck just robbed Oscar Sundqvist. It's going to be a tip here off a Sandberg shot from Nino Niederreiter. Feels like he hasn't scored in forever. He puts the Jets up 2-1. Building goes nuts. Very important goal. I can't show a video of it, but in this period there was some hard hits specifically on Mark Scheifele. First of all, Luke Schenn hit him pretty hard. He did leave his feet. Looked like Scheifele might have gotten a little bit of whiplash on his neck. Stayed out there, and then Scheifele got crunched by Radek Faksa later on in the period. That's been happening all series long. Scheifele's been tough going through it, but he would not return to the second period, and he would not come back at all for the rest of this game. So a very massive concern for Winnipeg, obviously, as that is their number 1 center. They lack depth at the center position as is, and now Vlad Namestnikov is your number 1 center in between the newly returned Gabe Vilardi and Kyle Connor. So now we head into the second, and Mark Scheifele doesn't come out there. Kind of scary. Vlad Namestnikov, the 1C, and, you know, I'm hoping the Jets can, you know, keep this lead here. Maybe Hellebuyck can stand tall. Lets in a real softie to Snuggerud. And, you know, at this point, with no Scheifele, tie game, maybe some of Hellebuyck's demons, you know, creeping in on him here, that was scary. I didn't like this. I didn't like watching this. And I was really worried where this game was going to start going. But just 5 minutes later, Dylan DeMello says, "Hey man, don't be worried, I got you." Scoring his first of the playoffs, putting the Jets up 3-2. Gonna watch the replay here. It's gonna get thrown back up high to DeMello. He's gonna flip it on goal. Thought this went off Vilardi. Actually looks like it went off Colton Parayko and in. So, you know, kind of what the Blues were doing to Hellebuyck last game. Same kind of style of goal. Jets take the lead, go up 3-2. Very important with 0:55 and that last goal that had gone in past Hellebuyck. Now, I was kind of worried about Vlad Namestnikov being the number 1 center, you know, for the rest of this game, as he hasn't scored in, you know, I think one goal in his last 30-something games. He doesn't disappoint here. Look at this. Mason Appleton's going to feed it over to Kyle Connor. Wicked backhand, no look pass over to Vladdy, and he puts it on. That's got to feel good. Look at this. Whoop. Like Scheifele never left, right? So Vlad Nemesnikov with the goal of his life there. What timing for that. 4-2 Winnipeg, and that's how the second period would end. Now, you want to talk about, a bounce back. That was definitely it. We're feeling really good here up to at the end of the second. Can the Jets hold this lead? They absolutely can. In the third period, St. Louis had 10 shots on net. They were really going for it, but they couldn't do much with it. Adam Lowry would score the empty netter late in this one, pulled the goalie with over 4 minutes left. Nathan Walker would score one late in this game, second of the game, but it would not matter as the Jets walk away with a 5-3 bounce back answer game. This was huge. With everything that went on, all the adversity in the last couple of games, that they're facing all of a sudden, where they were up 2-0 in the series, kind of seemed like the Jets had this one under control. Blues stormed back, scared the hell out of the city, and, now you look at it, Jets back in the driver's seat, but what is up with Mark Scheifele, you ask? It's unclear at this moment. Injuries aren't going to be really discussed right now, as Scott Arniel said. Obviously, that never happens in the playoffs. They're not going to reveal injuries unless it's like major serious. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm hoping it's minor. Hopefully something painkillers will take care of. Maybe it's concussion protocol. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to guess. But I really hope Mark Scheifele's okay, because if the Jets don't have him for Game 6, I'm very worried at what the outcome could possibly be there. This was a massive win for a lot of reasons. Jets go up 3-2 in the series, obviously. They can eliminate the Blues on Friday night in Game 6. However, this was big for a lot of other reasons. The biggest reason being they proved that they can come back from adversity like they've been doing all season, but this time in the playoffs. Because the last couple of seasons, they've been out in the first round, they've been getting destroyed, and there's really been no pushback. This year, the pushback was there. They weren't getting buzzsawed, embarrassed by, the St. Louis Blues like they did the Colorado Avalanche just a season ago. And I'm really proud of this team for stepping up, especially in the face of adversity with Mark Scheifele not there. Connor Hellebuyck, a lot of chat coming into this game saying he needs to be better. He didn't have a great game today, but he needs to, continue, use this game as something to build off of and, improve going forward here. But the Jets pick up a huge Game 5 win, and, you can't be upset about this heading into Game 6. As long as you can get Mark Scheifele back relatively soon here, I think this was a big night for Winnipeg. I thought Gabe Vilardi looked really good in this game, but the big ol' Shining Star Award is going to none other than Vlad Nemesnikov. Congratulations, sir, stepping up into the 1C role, scoring, almost had 2 goals, decided to, completely deke out Jordan Binnington and then miss the net. But, he had a good night. He looked really good with Connor and Vilardi. If he has to play 1C next game, I think that, he's going to be playing with a lot of confidence. So either way, we'll see what happens here. But Vlad Nemesnikov, congratulations. But that's enough yapping from me. What do you guys think about this game? How do you think this game went? And do you think the Jets can win this series now? I know there was a lot of people doubting them after those 2 games in St. Louis with how poorly they played. A lot of people saying they went back to the old Jets, right? Last season's Winnipeg Jets, where they folded like a tent under adversity, and they came through with a really gutsy effort and a real gutty win on Wednesday night. I want to hear from you guys. Leave a comment down below about anything you want about this game, about Mark Scheifele, about this series. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm out of here, guys. See you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.